The droid does belong to you.
Don't seem to remember ever owning a droid. Very interesting.
Welcome back to Retro Wednesday, the Tidarium Hangar. Today I want to talk to you about vintage R2-D2s, all the different versions that they put out that I know of, or at least that I have. And I'm going to talk about some of the modern representations, some of the things that they've done going forward, but the vintage ones have different options, there's different things going on, and there's way more than I thought when I set out to start collecting Star Wars in the 90s. So we're going to talk about all this, a few of the modern iterations, coming up. So we're going to start with the original one, the one that started it all. And before we look at the figure, let's look at the card. This is the 12 back right here. And they call it a 12 back because of the back of the card. And it has those 12 figures. It's 12 characters that are just sort of painted on there. There's just there's a 12 stand. So 12 back is kind of what people refer to when they meant the very first release. Now this one did come just like this on several different card backs also. But there is a very simple R2-D2. And when you turn the head, you hear the clinking. It is vac metalized. It has a nice kind of a vac metalized blue paint with it also. Now my sticker is kind of worn on this one. And then I had this one that I was displaying. Turns out I think this one has a reproduction sticker on it. It does look so much better. But the color was off, and that's how I knew, oh wait, that's a reproduction sticker. So anyway, one of the things is when I collected these, I didn't pay much for these because I've had these for 20 years. But the thing about it is that I didn't go for condition back in the day. I went for cheap. And now I kind of wish I would have gone for condition. But a couple things about this one. The head is just screwed on right there. They're pretty easy to repair, except the legs, if the legs come off, I don't know. There's ways to repair it, but he does have a little hole in the leg there. Wasn't much to this guy. And very simple design, very simplistic, very easy to make and manufacture, and very cheap. But still one of my favorite ones. I was so excited when I tracked down my first vintage one of these. It was just amazing. I was so happy to get one. But I have to say that I felt like it was lacking in a few departments because R2-D2 does so much, and so play value, what are you really going to do with him? You're going to pretend he has some sort of gadgets coming out of him or whatever. So down the road, Kenner actually put more play value into him and made different iterations. Instead of just putting the same one out over and over and over, which they did for a little bit, they have different ones, and we're going to go into those. This one here is the sensor scope one, and again, yellowed sticker. I have like 3 or 4 of these, but I think this is the best looking sticker, but it's a little yellowed. So sticker's even yellow, so does the plastic. But it looks pretty good. Again, still the vac metalized on the head. And the sensor scope pops down and goes up. Head's still screwed on the same way. I think if I find a nice body and I want to just swap heads, I can do that. That's kind of things that I've used to mess with in the past. But anyway, got the holes for the stand. This guy actually doesn't need a stand because he is supported very well. But still, one little sensor scope gimmick. That's all you had, and it really didn't have connectivity or interactivity. Like you couldn't go to the door and something come out so we could open the door, which is what I kind of always wanted. And I think that we would need if we have a definitive version of an R2-D2. Now for the pop-up lightsaber R2-D2. Now, I have to admit that this is probably the coolest R2-D2 that nobody ever had. And I say that several people had it, of course. But the thing about this one is that you turn the head and it pops up. Now, how does this magic work? Well, we looked at the bottoms of the other ones, and they look different than the bottom of this one. When you look at it, you can see that there's like a little canal in here, and it goes up and then down and up and then down. So where this low point is where the lightsaber rests, and then it goes higher, it pushes it up. So it's just simple technology to get it to do this. And no clicky in there. There's nothing clicky in there. So now you can shoot it off, and you have the lightsaber. And it's not a very good lightsaber. It looks like a club. Like you're going to club someone over the head, but it's made that way so it's more of the gimmick for R2 than an actual toy accessory for Luke. But it can be used, of course, as Luke's accessory, but it's not a great version of it. So down the road, we're actually going to look at a modern version of this. But it's still pretty cool, more functionality, and this one's really hard to get. It's very sought after, and yeah, it's just a tough one. The Stan Solo Creations is making another one, which I'm going to go ahead and just skip to and look at right here. So this is the Droids version made by Stan Solo or Smith Lord Creations. So anyway, it's got the clicky in it, I guess. So maybe mine's supposed to have click in it. I don't know. His has a clicky going on. So anyway, this is the Droids one, and his work is just spot on. It's awesome. He makes a standard one with vac metallized and all that, and I don't see any reason why not. If you're collecting for the love of collecting, go with the Smith Lord Creations one. You're going to get a great one. Here are a couple more of the card backs, and then this is the R2-D2 with the sensor scope, and this one, I did not like the card back so much. I just thought it was a silly looking card back, and I just don't remember it. I remember the first one, but not this one so much. This is the Power of the Force version with the coin and all that good stuff. So, yeah, he does come with a coin. And moving this around, this one is a 65 back. That one's a 92 back. You're going to see 92 backs a lot for, well, pretty much all of the Power of the Force figures, but when it comes to Empire Strikes Back, there's all kinds of different ones. I think Empire starts at like 30 something. Is that what it was? I don't remember. But looking at, there it is, this packaging. So the next R2-D2 I want to talk about is from the Droid factory playset. Now, it's not actually a figure. It is just pieces in a playset that can be put together to build your own droid. As you can see, it solves one of the biggest problems with R2-D2, not having the third leg. And it's one of those things that as kids, we knew this was incomplete. But even if you piece this together, he's real skinny. He's like an anorexic droid next to this R2-D2. It's a much different style. And if you're like me and you thought, well, maybe you just can take that third leg and possibly make yourself a good R2, that still doesn't truly work. I mean, you can make it work. You can fake it till you make it. But this is not a figure. It's not a standalone figure. It's just parts that you put together. And I pieced this one together from my friend Steve at Toy Base 10. He's a good guy. And anyway, I pieced together like a decade ago or longer. And actually, I could have pieced 2 or 3 of them together and got a few of them. And I should have, because it's really a cool little feature. And I would have liked to have had a few more of these little legs to maybe just to help display. But sadly, what I would do is cut it so it fit, and that's like, wow, you would destroy that part. I was thinking about it, but I mean, I don't have any more of these, so I'm not going to. But if I had like 5 or 6 of them, it wouldn't hurt me to trim one of them down just to fit R2-D2 just right. So it's kind of a cool gimmick. And I know that playset comes with a ton of other parts, and you can build other droids and stuff. But this is all I got for that playset. So getting into the modern era of these figures, this is the 1995 version. It does have some light piping, which the camera's not picking up because the light's coming from back there, not over here. But this figure was one of my favorite figures in 1995 when they started putting them back out, because I did kind of feel like they all were slightly updated sculpts, but for something was off about most of the figures. But when it came to R2-D2, I was like, wow, look at this. Just look at the improvement in detail and sculpt. This is 1995, so I mean, this is a classic in itself, and you can still get them really, really cheap these days. Still has the vac metallized. I mean, this is an age where the 90s still vac metallized stuff. So looking at that, I mean, you can see like the background in the room in here. You can see me handling it. It's amazing. Now, this solved one of the major problems, and you just have a drop down leg and it goes like this. Now, then you have light piping and the head moves and all that. And that's where it ends. That's as much as they did with this figure. And I was excited and stoked to have it anyway. But when you think about it, they could have done a whole lot more. And so they did in Kenner style times 100. So around the same time, they did come out with, they call them the deluxe. And the batteries are so dead on this. If I push it, it makes a noise. And it's like a small, quiet noise for like 25 minutes. It's supposed to do this. So they've made a bunch of different iterations of the electronics, and I think they literally just took the electronics from this and put it in a bunch of different versions and repacked it down the road. Now, one thing about this is it does have the third leg, and it does have some movement here, and I think the bottoms of these are different. I don't know what's going on with all that. This is, of course, a used one I picked up along the lines. But you can't move the head, and it's because of the light and all that. The speaker's actually on the top. So there's a lot to it. You can change the batteries in the back. It's the LR44. It's pretty easy to get, pretty easy to change, I guess. But I think that it was kind of cool, and the electronic gimmicks just keep rolling. It's fun. I like it. It's probably one of my favorite modern ones, but still, we don't have a definitive version, and it lacks in true playability. Next, we have the update to the pop-up lightsaber R2-D2, and this one is, it's plagued with issues, to say the least. First off, in order to create the gimmick, they wanted a true lightsaber to go all the way through this. The third leg's still there, but it's made twice the size, like ginormous third leg, so that you could do this. Pop-up lightsaber. Now, I like that they did it, and I like that it exists, but I think that with technology, we could figure out a better way to do it. Now, the lightsaber itself is a true lightsaber, like way better than what they gave us back in the day. And, you know, they're thinking outside the box in a way, but this is a pretty good lightsaber. The way it works is it's modified. There's a notch right there, so it's like thicker going down. So it clips here, and you push the button to release it like that. So, pretty cool idea, but it looks terrible as an R2-D2. So, one gimmick per figure. Let's go to the next gimmick. Some other modern things they do, they recolor them and give them different names and stuff. This was from Queen Amidala's Royal Starship, Queen Amidala, and then this is a vac metalized one. I think this was like a 25th anniversary, I don't know, 25th, 50th, 40th, 35th, I don't know. But another one, I got it for $1. I was like, hey, I like that shiny one. You sell, I think I might have a pony up $3 to get this guy or something. But so, really looks nice. I like the vac metalized look to it. I don't even know what year it's from or anything. Still kind of fun with R2-D2 and fun with the recolors. Here's a roundup of just a couple of them that have different gimmicks. This one is like battle damage, and it shows him battle damage. I don't even know what era it's from. Again, I pick up any R2-D2 I see that I don't have for like $1. Like, hey, you can sell that to me for $1. Okay, I'll buy it. Anyway, it has a lowering mechanism of the leg, kind of like I think the Black Series one does this way too. So raising and lowering by twisting the head, and then it clicks to like kind of let you. Maybe I'm causing damage by clicking it. Who knows? But it does have wheels and rolling wheels, and it doesn't want to stand without its third leg. And this one over here, and I don't know what it's from either. I think it's an animated something or another. Now this one I like because it has a few different things you can do with it, but you can open up these and you actually have some tools. So now when I saw this one, I thought, well, that's R2-D2 I've always wanted. I've always wanted R2-D2 that can do this, but he doesn't have a vac metalized head. I don't know what's going on with this third leg. I don't know if it clips in there or not. So it's like this engine, so it flies away. And then you've got stuff going on in the back. So it's cool that they've kind of moved along, but we don't have a definitive one yet. So still, to this day, there's not a true definitive one that has everything incorporated at once. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see one 100%. But again, it's going to be hard to have all of the functions and features in one little 3.75-inch figure. Okay, so out of all the modern R2-D2s that I've picked up these days, I think that this one is the coolest. It's the radio-controlled version of R2-D2. And it was a Target exclusive from back in the day. And it is cool. I like it. It really is a pretty good figure. A couple of things. It only has one pose. You can only do that with it. And the head will move, but it's electronic. You do have batteries in the back there. Batteries in the remote. And I think it was like $16 about in 2011 or something like that. So let's see. Let's get this thing in the on mode. See right here, my camera's not going to pick that tiny little writing up, but on. And then you have an on button in the remote, and So it does a backwards rotate, and it is a fickle little thing. I think I got mine on clearance for like $11. I should have bought all the other ones because they had R5-D4 and a couple of others. But, you know, I just think R2-D2 is my favorite, so I got them. Anyway, kind of cool. So that's my look at vintage R2-D2s and some of the modern representations and counterparts. Do you have some of these? Do you have all of these? Were there any of them in here that you've never seen before? And, you know, that's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to watch a video and see something you've never seen before and maybe learn a little something about it. So let me know in the comments below, like and subscribe, and have a good Wednesday.
Use the com link. Oh my, I forgot. Oh my, R2, can you hear me? Say something. You can repair him, can't you?
We'll get to work on him right away.